All right, welcome. This is the 1912 Exiles podcast. This is a special preview episode, and I am joined by the lovely Dan from Salopcast, Shrewsbury Town podcast. Dan, how are we doing today?
We are okay. How are you, Jamie? All right?
Yes, all right, all right. Apart from all the football,
Yeah, apart from football. Obviously,
apart
yeah.
from that, but yeah, generally I'm fine. Listen, we've got a game coming up at the weekend. Our two sides are meeting at Rodney Parade on Saturday, Newport against Shrewsbury Town. First up, let's take maybe a little bit of a step back. How's your season going, or how's it gone? Thoughts, feelings, hopes, fears. How's it been
Well,
for you?
yeah, I've got 2 hours for this. Have I right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, really, it's a 2-year story and it's a 2-year tale of woe, but it's a tale of woe that I think will just about have a reasonably satisfactory ending. And of course, we came down last year, and last year was dismal. It's the lowest points total we had in our entire history. And it was miles away from even being close to this, what was the lowest points total. So we were pretty dismal, and we were hoping there was going to be a reset this year. Some new faces in, some old faces out, but the pattern didn't change. We changed managers. We had Gareth Ainsworth for a while last year. That was an unmitigated disaster, and I suspect Gillingham are having the same thoughts about Gareth Ainsworth that we did. And then we had Michael Appleton, who's got a reasonable track record, but that didn't change the mood music at all. And we were, as you guys will know, we were right down there for quite a long period of time. And then, for reasons that are far from clear, Gavin Cowan, our current manager, who many people will never have heard of, he's played 24 games of league football, all of them for Shrewsbury Town, went off and managed Brackley, got them promoted to the National League, which is an achievement. And we then brought him in, and we thought this is a bit of a risk. He's never managed in a football league. We know very little about his managerial style. We knew a little bit about him as a player. But as I say, for reasons that are far from clear, we won 6 out of 7 games over about 3.5 weeks. It was a Saturday, Tuesday, win, 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 win. And it was like, what on earth is going on? And we're not really clear. I mean, there's new manager bounces and then there's new manager explosions. So that will be, I think, enough to keep us in the Football League. But the last 3 games, I think, have been really good for us because we haven't scored a goal. We've been pretty dismal. And Gav Cowan is seeing what we've been seeing for the 25 games, 30 games before he arrived. So in that sense, I hope we have a clear out in the summer, and I think we'll be a league club when we get there. Just.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because we've been right down the bottom pretty much all season ourselves, and my sort of glimmer of hope, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I was looking at the history over the last few years, and I think it's the side that's finished bottom of League One in the last 2 seasons has gone down again, and I thought, are Shrewsbury going to make this a hat trick? And as much as I hate to see it's bigger historical sides such as Shrewsbury go down, yeah, I'm looking out for my survival, my team's survival. But anyway, you've had this incredible run of form, and you said you don't know where it came from. I mean, are there any sort of standout players who are sort of like the real ones that really dragged you out of that mire with that incredible run?
Yeah, no, part of these things is that what you want is one catalyst, right? So, it was him. But it isn't really that. I think if we unpack it now, we've been a bit luckier. And we were really worried about the double dip. We were well aware that, Carlisle, anyone, Forest Green, anyone, we were well aware that this can happen. And we saw it coming. So we had a bit of a change of luck. We lost 1-0 at Cambridge in what was Michael Appleton's last game. And it was a penalty in the 94th minute that didn't have to be given. It could have been given, or it could not have been given. But the referee decided to give it, and we lost 1-0. And we've had 2 decisions in that run of 6 wins from 7 games I thought were penalties against us. Mm-hmm. But they weren't stone wall, but they weren't given. So we have had a little bit of luck along the way. What we've also had in terms of luck is our 2 most senior players, John Marquis, who's got 120 goals in his Football League career, and Sam Clucas, who was once in the Premier League. Someone paid £15 million for him. Abysmal. I don't hold anything against them as individuals, but it's not worked. Both of them got injured at the same time. They got injured at precisely the time that Gavin Cowan came in. Now, I don't know whether Gavin Cowan would have persevered with the 2 of them. Clucas has just come back, actually. Marquis is out for the rest of the season. But losing them forced him to stop setting the side up around those 2 players. And they just weren't good enough. And part of it is that time has gone. Their time is the past, and so it forced him to do something a little bit different. And I think that's helped.
Yep. You know what? That's a really good point because our sort of run of form has been mired with a lot of bad luck. I think the penalties that you didn't get. We've kind of seen that with some of the officiating. I know some of my pod colleagues are a bit more angry about it than I'm a bit. I don't know, a bit more sedate about these decisions. Some of them go against you, some of them go for you. But for me, what I find frustrating with Newport, and I don't know whether you've sort of seen it in your side as well, particularly teams down the bottom. There's just that lack of League Two nous, that bit of naivety about seeing games out. Particularly, if you're away against a playoff hopeful team, you just want to grind out that point if you can, or if you're hanging on to a lead, just figuring out how to hang on to it. And there have been quite a few times that we've just not. And I don't know whether that is something that a feeling you're familiar with, or perhaps you've got some players who are a bit more experienced around the team.
Well, I think it's an interesting point because, and also refereeing decisions. People almost take for granted the decisions that go their way. They never sort of remember that there are decisions that will go there. And I'm very conscious that there was 2 calls in particular in games that would have been pivotal that did go our way. And I'm a great believer that referees are not robots. They make judgment calls. And sometimes I think they're mad, but that's football. That's the way it goes. And I think it's really hard to be sanguine when you're right at the bottom of the table because it just feels like the world's against you. In terms of seeing games out, we were good at it for a month in February, but we were pretty poor at it at every other opportunity. I mean, but we went a long time where scoring goals was the problem. We could stay in a game, but as soon as we conceded, it's good night Vienna. It's good night Vienna. And that happened a no end of times. And we've got a back three who've got quite a lot of experience. So Sam Stubbs, his dad used to play for Everton. He's been around League Two long enough. Will Boyle from Wrexham, another guy, fits that bill. But we still saw lots of mistakes. We still saw things that shouldn't really have been happening. And again, it's what happens to teams that are struggling. But for me, our problem was more creativity. And it meant that we had to hang on and on and on in the hope that something would go our way. And for a long time, it just didn't. And it didn't look like it was going to.
Okay. Well, we might have a case of a stoppable force and a movable object, because I think that's one of our issues as well in terms is creativity and creating goals.
Well, I was really
and
impressed with your
actually,
loanee from Leicester at the Meadow, and I can't remember his name. I should have looked this up
oh
beforehand.
well, unfortunately, he's gone.
He's gone back,
It's a young lad called Braybrook, but I think he's actually back on loan somewhere else in the league, and I've completely forgotten where now.
I should know this.
But while I Google that, I'd love to talk about somebody we have on loan from your good selves. Actually, he's at Chesterfield. Sammy Braybrooke's gone to Chesterfield. Beggins, yeah. So he won't be available at the weekend to face you. I think it's a parent club situation.
I wouldn't put it past us messing that up. We have done in previous years. We have a famous case where a loanee player went to Brighton, Robinson, and scored against us. And it's like, you are joking. But yes, I wouldn't have put it past us to cock it up. But okay, I'm glad he's not playing.
Yeah, he's not playing because we've been fairly impressed with. That's one thing that we've been missing in the middle of the park, is a bit of a bite, bit of somebody who can put themselves about a bit. And we've been kind of impressed with him being in the side since January. But that's obviously one player that you won't have to worry about. You've mentioned a few things already, but I was going to ask you, looking ahead to the weekend, obviously you're coming off the back of a pretty heavy home defeat. In terms of the way you set up, you mentioned you play with about 3 at the back. Can you tell us a bit more about what we can expect when you're coming down to Rodney Parade?
Well, I hope that there's going to be a reaction, because I think there are defeats and defeats, right? And, there's a whole world of difference between losing unluckily in the last minute and being downright rubbish. And we were 2-0 down after 8 minutes against Crewe. And I think Crewe are quite a schizophrenic football team. When they turn up, they're quite good. But they've had a whole load of results that have not been particularly good as well. So we were already chasing our tail. I mean, the narrative from the management was that we were in the, we played quite well, but we're 2-0 down. Crewe don't have to do anything. And eventually, Crewe got 2 more, and that was that. So I would expect a reaction. Morgan, the guy I mentioned before, the loanee, he didn't play last week. Now we're not totally sure why. He did pick up a knock apparently against Bristol Rovers, but I think it was a bit of a, you're a young lad, you need to sort your attitude out. We'll see you for Newport, and I think he was dropped. Which, given that he's a crucial player was quite an interesting move. So he'll come back, and I'd keep an eye on him. He's got something about. He's a bit of a renter shot. So if he gets the ball anywhere within 40 yards, he'll be shooting. But I don't mind strikers who are greedy because we haven't had them. So I've got no issues with that. So keep an eye on him. We will stick to Gav Cowan's method, which is back three, stroke back five, depending on who we're playing. But I hope it's more of a back three on Saturday, because the two wing backs are wing backs. They're not really fullbacks. And one's Ishmael Kabia, who's on loan from Arsenal. He's a bit of a Bukayo Saka loan sort of clone. Except he's not quite as good. But the aim is for him to do what Saka does. And I think if we can have the two wing backs being proper wing backs, then we'll probably be more of a 3-4-3 maybe, or even a 3-4-1-2. But certainly when we're playing poorly, that we sit very deep and it becomes a 5, and we allow teams to come onto us. And I don't think that suits us at all at the moment, because we do finally have a couple of, a more positive vibe around the attacking options. So hopefully Morgan will play, he'll make a difference, and he'll lead the line and mean we play a bit further up the pitch.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad tactic against us, to be honest with you. Just sort of getting our faces a bit. I shouldn't be giving you all these tips, but anyway.
Well, as if they listen to me, don't worry.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, Dan, thank you for joining. One last question really is, what are your feelings on the game at the weekend? Are you optimistic? I don't normally like asking for score predictions, but maybe result prediction. What are you feeling?
Well, I mean, I've only seen us play at Rodney Parade once, and I'll be there with my two 10-year-olds. We're coming over, and it was a wind tunnel that day. And I don't know if that's a common thing, but I was behind the goal in a wind tunnel, and I'm already feeling a bit more positive. So I noticed my ticket is not behind the goal on Saturday. Is that right?
You're on the side, right? Yeah.
So that's progress, because it was like, oh my God, this feels a bit full on. So I'm already a bit more positive than I might have been. I suspect that we will see this as an opportunity to right some recent wrongs and should be a bit more positive. So I travel with a little bit more hope than perhaps some other Shrewsbury Town fans do. But our record against sides at the bottom is not brilliant. We lost at Harrogate abysmally. Okay, we drew at Barrow, but I mean, Barrow with a better team. That was before Christmas, and so on. Tranmere, we lost 4-0 there. Bristol Rovers, we lost there the other week. So we're not travelling well to the teams at the bottom. And that's something that annoys me, but it's definitely a thing. So I'm going to go for 0-0. I can't get any more enthusiastic than that, I'm afraid. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that I asked one of my twins earlier, what did he think? And he's 10, and he said 0-0. So you can see that it's ingrained in Shrewsbury Town fans to be a bit pessimistic about such stuff. I mean, 0-0, you wouldn't settle for that though, right?
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't. I think home games against sides in the bottom half, like, we've got to pick up points. We did well to win at Barnet, but then we lost, last minute game winners to Bromley, who admittedly are top, but we lost right at the death, and Walsall as well. 7 games left. It's so tight down there. I know you guys have kind of eked away from that bottom like 5 or 6. It's so tight down there that we've got to be looking at 3 points, to be honest. So yeah, I've got to hope for the win. Whether it'll happen or not is a very different matter.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a fair position, because you definitely, I mean, you got Barrow on the last day, right?
Yes, Barrow away on the last day, which is going to be totally fine, and we'll be safe by then. And we've got 4 or 5 games, to be honest, against the teams around us out of the 7. So I'm hopeful, but we've just got to get that sort of mentality to see games out. That's my thing. But anyway, Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck for the rest of the season, apart from Saturday.
You guys, I genuinely hope you stay in the league, I have to say, because I always think Newport's a better day out than most. No disrespect to Barrow.
It's a long old way, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Go well.
Cheers, Dan. Go well.